So, hello, fellow Earthlings. This is Earthling 6455463728. And there's probably something to be said for the lies and deceptions of Elon Musk and others. It's not necessarily something that I would do myself, but it's probably something to be said for it. As usual, I am Earthling, yada yada yada. I'm a guy who wanted to start up a YouTube channel and wanted to remain anonymous and see how it goes. I have a couple of degrees, I've traveled a bit, I have been in the reserves, and that's it for me for now. So I have been looking a lot at different channels that have been exposing the fact that most, a lot, maybe almost everything that Elon Musk promises and talks about with respect to his past, with respect to the future of space travel, of Solar City, with respect to the Hyperloop, they are, in many instances, easily demonstrable, I'll have to say lies. Just plain, flat out lies. Or promises about things that you really, really, really should know better if you just sit down and think. And maybe even if you just look at the past and you're honest with yourself and you say, have I really been able to produce the exciting things that I talked about in the past? And if you don't look in the past to see what your track record is, if you don't look at what you're actually saying in detail, even if neither of those things are true, your subordinates, the people who work for you, they could do that. Just your family members can do that and report back to you and say, hey, I think you've been over-promising. And people would get back to you and say, listen, you promised X, you promised Y, and you didn't deliver. So it's not even necessarily self-reflection or actually sitting down and looking at the details. I'm sure you are getting feedback to say, listen, I know that you want to excite the crowd, but you are telling them stuff that's not possible. The thing about it is that these channels on YouTube that have been providing this clear information that what Elon Musk has been saying most of his adult life or his recorded life, that's not true. It's not just Elon Musk. It's Barack Obama. It's Bernie Sanders. It is, the current president of the United States. It is maybe Steve Jobs. Maybe it's all sorts of people are like this. It's my father. And on the one hand, the personal experience that I have had with my own father is the idea that when the inevitable happens and it's time to pay the piper or to see, hey, is this really going to materialize? And there is the resulting disappointment because it doesn't. There is something that is already there, that you already experienced, that in a way kind of results in you falling for it the next time. It's in painting, there's a song, and maybe I have it wrong, but it goes, Jesse, paint your picture about how it's going to be. By now I should know better. Your dreams are never free. I'm sure I'm missing out a part, but it's, Jesse, you can always sell any dream to me. Or I think there's another song that goes, lie to me, I promise I'll believe. Because and hopefully I'm not talking about, con men who steal all your money and you never see them again. Maybe I'm just talking about people who they sell you this dream, this thing that is like a religious experience. And in many ways, I guess I am talking about religious experiences as well, aren't I? I'm talking about something beyond the mundane, everyday grind. This stuff that we want to believe in, that we will be able to go to Mars, that we will be able to set foot on another planet, that we will be able to recover from that disease, that we will be able to change, if you're in America, change America, or change the UK, or change, Ghana, or change whatever it is, or live in that big house, or be happy, or be free from pain. And that positivity, even though it's not real, in terms of it's not going to be achieved, that dream, that idea, that by now you should know better, that it's not free, that Jesse's going to want something and then she's going to disappear, and then years later she's going to come back. You are selling somebody that moment of belief. Not even that, just that one instance. You're selling them happiness. Happiness that never really comes and sticks, but it's the happiness that we get at the end of every story, right? Snow White and her prince, they lived happily ever after. Or whoever, Sleeping Beauty and whatever prince, whoever you can think of, did they really live happily ever after? I mean, when we are in a position where we see a sequel for one of these shows, we realize, wait a minute, there's stuff that happened after the curtain dropped, after the credits ran, after you got what you thought you were going to get, that wasn't all happy. Because life happens. Even if, let's pretend for a moment that happily ever after really did happen exactly how you think that it happens, somebody's going to die. The prince is going to die at some point. Snow White is going to die at some point. Probably not together at the same time. And even if they did, their kids probably not going to be too happy about both of them dying, which they inevitably must, for the cycle of life to continue. So even happily ever after is a lie, and we know that. I know that at some point, even if I'm happy with my mother today and I don't have any big argument or whatever with her, I know that I'm going to. Now let me just say here, I am not that kind of person. I think that most of us are not that kind of person. You can only have a certain number of people who promise things like that. society doesn't run on promises. It runs on deliverable acts. You're not gonna survive till tomorrow on promises instead of food, instead of rent, instead of water, instead of housing, instead of medical care, instead of all of those things. The boring parent that doesn't provide the dreams and the promises and all the other trappings, the boring politician who never runs for president and promises things that only the Supreme Court can actually rule on, or only, vote through the Senate and the Congress or the Parliament or whatever house you have. Only they can actually do that. That's not something that the president or the prime minister or whoever it is can actually achieve single-handedly. As much as they can promise and as much as they can say, yes, we can, they can't. But everybody else is going to promise it anyway, right? So if they don't lie to your face, then you might actually vote for somebody else who maybe can't produce as much as they can eventually. Neither of them, nobody can produce, but they're going to promise anyway. So you have to promise anyway. But we need the people who don't promise anything. We need the people who run the shops. They don't give you any kind of a dream. They're just there in the shops waiting for you to come in and buy something. And maybe some of them might promise that your car is going to, if it's a car wash or something, they might promise that your car is going to shine like it's never shone before. And maybe it is that they can clean that little cubby hole or that little part that people at the car wash never really clean. And you're going to get impressed by nothing. Maybe. But what little that Elon Musk actually provides, I'm not saying that it's right. I'm not saying that it's good, but you know what? The guy who just says the thing, most people are not going to, if you don't give people, in many instances, the overloaded promises that you do give them, in a real world, people might not just pay any attention to you. I know with respect to business, you have to overpromise sometimes. I'm not going to do it personally, but I see where all of the big excess, that sometimes actually gets things moving. It gets people excited enough by things that you can't really provide to do what little it takes to provide what little can be provided. And sometimes lies are the fuel that's needed just to get the bare minimum done. Yeah, there's never going to be a colony on Mars. Straight up, that's a fact. But maybe we might actually have cars that drive themselves because of a similar kind of thing. Maybe, because we kind of already do. And if we can survive long enough, if Tesla can survive long enough, maybe one of the 1,000 promises might be possible. I don't know. But, it really comes down to, again, it's like the first stars. The first stars are not going to last 1 billion years. They're going to last 1 million. But they're going to shine and shine and shine. And when some of them supernova, they will spread the seeds that are required the elements that are required across the universe for the other stars, the ones that are really going to do the hard work to achieve. I don't know. That's just me thinking. So as usual, have a good day. I don't know if let me say that one, but feel free to like, subscribe, give me any of your feedback. The same way that you would like people to give you feedback. Have a good one. Peace.